Greetings everyone. I'm John Hodgson from the province of Oceania, which is New Zealand and Samoa, Australia, China, down the southern part of the world. We're just reflecting at the end of day 3, and today was the second day of our retreat with Father Daniel Huang, a Jesuit. And you would have remembered something from yesterday. So we gathered this morning principally to pray for peace in our morning prayer. And there was a beautiful experience of just gathering with all the suffering people, with all those who've been terrorized, all those who've been torn apart by war, by famine, by injustice, and just simply gather to pray for peace. And we had 2 moving testimonies this morning in our morning prayer from the provincial of the Ukraine and then from the provincial of West Africa, both talking about their trauma, the wars, the injustices, the suffering that is part of our lives and how the Redemptorists are responding to it. So we just took in that this morning, and then we went off into our first session of the morning with Father Daniel. And he just recapped from yesterday 2 important points that he was reflecting with us. And the first one was that we live in a time of liminality, of that space between what was and what is still to come. And also the demise and the fall of Christendom, and how our lives now are in a deep period of insecurity. Christianity is still alive, but Christendom, that cultural expression of Christian faith in government and in laws and legislation, all of that is collapsing. So his reflection today invited us into how do we mission? How do we evangelize in this time of deep insecurity where we have lost our power? The church has lost its power, it's lost its privilege, it's lost its position of influence. And how can we be creative in our mission when we are a minority? And it's an exciting question for us to embrace, but also a very challenging one. So he spoke about 7 things for us today to take home and be part of our reflection in the coming 3 weeks. And the first one was this important point that the church goes out. We don't wait for people to come to us. We are called to cross the street. We are called to let go of our comfort zones and move out from behind whatever is reassuring and cross into the lives and the hearts and the experiences of people where they are. And his second point is when we go to be with people, then try and be close to them. Try and stay in the heart of where they are, in their experience, to particularly learn their language, to be close to them in so many ways. And this is the heart of the Alphonsian charism too, that we are people who want to be close to the people. Interestingly, the third point was this sense of focusing on the heart of the gospel, having the gospel message clear and delivering it succinctly. Jesus Christ loves you. Jesus Christ died for you. Jesus Christ forgives. And Jesus Christ is the fullness of life for us. And that heart of the gospel message, that clarity around what we are preaching, what we are giving, is done as good news. It's not done without any joy, it's done with great joy. And so we are called to proclaim our gospel, but with incredible joy. And he was drawing on Evangelii Gaudium, the document of Pope Francis as well. Interestingly, and in a beautiful moment, he said that mercy is God's identity card. and that our deeds of mercy are really incredibly important in how we have to show what we believe. We have to do deeds, we have to have gestures, we have to express ourselves in the heart and lives of people mercifully. And to show mercy is not to sort of like absolve and bless, it's actually to encounter, to be with the people. And he drew upon some of the insights of Pope Francis on Fratelli Tutti. So those experiences of being merciful and of giving mercy, showing mercy, and what he calls making the gospel attractive. That people are evangelized not by theology, but by encounter. So the call for all of us not to moralize, but the call of us to be joyful and to express it ourselves. Two more points were important. One was that we are all collaborators in the mission. It's not our mission, it's God's mission. And importantly, the last point is that we are missionaries of hope. Even though it looks despairing at times, the resurrection of Christ invites us to really give it our very best. Because, as Father Daniel said, love and service, whenever we give those willingly and generously, they are never wasted. Christ's resurrection is not something in the past, it's vital for us today. So he left us with the gospel story of John 21 and the disciples feeling despair after the crucifixion, and then Peter just wanting to go fishing, and then they just recognised Jesus. And the abundance, the copiosa, was this lovely dimension of that Gospel of John, John 21, verses 1 to 4. So there was a lot to take away. I think we all felt terrific at the end of that. We all mentioned just how important and how incredible it was. So we thank Daniel really from our heart. Midday prayer, we gathered to reflect on Mary, and through a video presentation we just enjoyed a wonderful half hour of song and reflections and prayer to Mary, our Mother of Perpetual Help. In the afternoon we gathered again with Father Daniel, and for about an hour and a half all the capitulars had questions, and he was very adept at answering every dimension of questions. I can't recall everything for you, but it was very engaging, and it went on longer than we expected. And then we concluded with a vote of thanks by Father Michael to Father Daniel. The point was that Daniel had read all the documents for the chapter. He had read our Alphonsine story. He knew more than what we ever would have anticipated, and his insights and his care and respect for our charism was there, and we all appreciated everything he did for us. We've just finished Mass today, and Father Daniel gave us the homily, and he just reflected again that we're in a point of discernment here. It's not about so much finding the answers ourselves, but allowing God to lead us. And he was saying there are two things we need to do in this time of process over the next remaining weeks of the chapter. To, first of all, to really bask in the consolation of God. If we are to discern our way forward, we need to trust and hope in God's love and care for us, God's very wonderful presence. And then secondly, as we bask in God's presence among us, our focus is on those who are suffering. And they will inform us, they will speak to us, their lives will help us understand where God is leading us. So it's been a terrific day, and I think all of us are really energised by our 2 days with Father Daniel, with the prayer, with the reflections, and we look forward to tomorrow with the business of the chapter. Take good care. God bless.